All right, let's just jump right into this explainer, because today we're doing something a little bit different, but honestly, it is incredibly fascinating. We're literally taking a magnifying glass to a micro-narrative, a four-scene tragedy. The goal here is to deconstruct exactly how a complete, totally devastating dramatic arc gets built using just, well, a handful of lines of text. It is a masterclass in minimalism, and I'm so excited to break it all down with you today.
So let me ask you, how fast can a narrative break your heart? I mean, think about standard storytelling, right? Usually you need hours of a movie or hundreds of pages of a book to build up that empathy you need to feel the real, crushing weight of a tragedy. But what if I told you the whole shebang could happen in under a minute of reading time? Yeah, no way, right? But the incredible velocity of this kind of minimalist storytelling relies on hyper-precise word choices and rapid-fire pacing, and we are about to see that firsthand. Here's the exact dramaturgical timeline. Basically, the structural blueprint of the four scenes we're exploring today. Point 1, we get the idyllic setup. Point 2, a sudden disruption just a few days later. Then straight into point 3, the confrontation, and finally, point 4, the completely silent resolution. It's a perfectly balanced structure, basically a textbook tragedy condensed into its absolute purest form.
All right, let's look at scene 1, the absolute promise. This sets up our status quo, representing the emotional high point before the inevitable storm hits.
So the script gives us these incredibly brief stage directions to establish our baseline. It simply reads, sitting together in the park, looking happy. And, well, that's it. But honestly, it's all we need. A park represents this natural, open, peaceful environment, and looking happy gives us a completely joyful physical and emotional baseline. There's literally zero hint of the conflict that's about to tear this peaceful afternoon completely apart. Then the boy speaks. He says, "I love you very much. You are my world." Let's hyper-focus on this for a second, because he doesn't just express affection here, he establishes absolute certainty. Actually, by using the phrase, "you are my world," he places the entirety of his existence, his whole emotional gravity, onto this one single person. I mean, the emotional weight of the word world is absolutely immense. He's put all his eggs in one basket, literally putting all his hopes into this one relationship.
And in response, the girl says, "I will always love you too." Okay, the crucial word here is always. She perfectly matches his absolute certainty with an absolute timeline. Now, if you know anything about dramatic writing, words like always or never are, well, they're almost always traps. This line masterfully sets up the impending dramatic irony. It anchors a promise of forever in a story that, as we're about to see, is heartbreakingly temporary. Which brings us to scene 2, the sudden silence. Here, we actively shift from peace right into the anxious, creeping dread of the unknown.
A few days later, the call is not received. You have to notice the staggering velocity of this disruption. Just a simple time jump of a few days completely shatters that always we just established. Now, an unreturned call might seem like a small thing in our everyday lives, but in a micro-narrative, an unreturned call is the equivalent of a massive earthquake. The silence becomes absolutely deafening.
We then get the boy's internal dialogue, essentially spoken aloud. He says, super worriedly, "I don't know what happened. Why isn't she talking to me?" Just look at the total confusion in those words. This perfectly highlights his sudden shift from that absolute security, having his quote-unquote world sitting right next to him, to total desperate isolation. He's completely unmoored. It's like the foundation has vanished from beneath his feet without a single explanation.
Moving on to scene 3, the climax of betrayal. That agonizing ambiguity of the unreturned call is instantly replaced by a very harsh reality. The boy confronts her, saying, "You said you'd always be together." See how his heartbreak relies directly on recalling that specific promise from the very first scene? He isn't just reacting to seeing her with someone else. He's actively mourning the death of the word always. He's holding on to the script's past, desperately unable to process the brutal present unfolding right in front of him.
And this comparison here really illustrates the brutality of the script's turn. On the left side, back in scene 1, we had the absolute promise, "I will always love you too." And now, on the right side in scene 3, we get this abrupt, clinical pivot. "Forgive me, my feelings have changed." Boom, that's it. She doesn't offer a long, drawn-out explanation or beg for his understanding. She simply states a cold change in state. The juxtaposition of always directly against feelings have changed is just breathtakingly ruthless. It is incredibly effective storytelling.
Finally, scene 4, the dejected resolution. All that kinetic energy just drains away, leaving a somber, heavy finality.
So the really crucial point here is how cleanly the text defines the boy's emotional descent. Let's map it out step by step through the script's explicit stage directions. Step 1, he starts out happy in the park. Step 2, he becomes worried after that missed call. Step 3, he's betrayed during the confrontation. And finally, step 4, he ends up dejected. It is a perfect, tragic, emotional staircase, just descending straight into utter sorrow in 4 distinct, calculated beats. And the final action simply reads, the boy walks away dejected. All the dialogue completely ceases. I mean, after the heavy, loaded words like world and always, the story ends in total, crushing silence. We're left only with this haunting visual in our minds of a dejected boy walking away. The minimalism here really forces you, the viewer, to just sit with that heavy, totally unresolved emotion. So, in a narrative of such sudden shifts, what is the true weight of a promise? The abrupt realities of broken promises are something, let's be honest, almost everyone can relate to. But seeing it stripped down to its absolute barest bones in this explainer, it really highlights the supreme fragility of the words we use. Think about the promises we make every day, and just how quickly the script of our own lives can completely flip. Thanks so much for exploring this with me today. It's definitely something to think about.